Hi, this is Linda Howard. I'm here with Stacey Seaman, the Executive Director of the BlackBox Foundation. Thank you for joining me, Stacey.
Thank you, my pleasure. So I got involved with the local theater group and started directing community theater. And the more involved I got, the more I realized that that was actually the route that I wanted to go. And my friend opened a local theater, and in 2012 I took a leap and left teaching to go manage the theater, and 4 months after I came on board, it closed. So after that, we regrouped and recreated the organization as a nonprofit, and then went out into the community to see how we could help the arts, and just it's grown from there. Yeah.
In that 4 months, could you see things heading south? I mean, was there any effort to diversify at that point, or was it just too late?
I knew, it's funny because before I left my other job, I didn't know the condition that they were in. And I thought everything was going to be great. And I came in June, and almost immediately when I took a look at the books, I realized we were in trouble. They knew they were in trouble, but by that point, it was a sinking ship. I don't know that there was anything we could have done.
Yeah.
It was just a matter of time.
Whose idea was it for you guys to become the nonprofit? Was it something that you brought to the table?
I did. Almost immediately, I said we have to get our 501c3. And, I didn't know anything about it. I just knew we needed it.
Yeah.
And in researching it, it's quite a process.
Yes.
And so we started it, and we filed for our state nonprofit status immediately, but it's not the federal, so you have to do all of that. And everyone at the time said, hire someone, bring them in. But, that was...
You have to have money first.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You need money to file, and you need money to hire someone. So we kind of were working on our own, but in that, and then trying to bail out the theater, we couldn't do both at once.
Yeah.
So after the theater had been closed about 6 months, we regrouped. We're done nursing our wounds, and we regrouped and came out and said, all right, the number one thing we have to do before we move forward is get our nonprofit. And that's what we did. I actually learned how to do it. I did it instead of paying someone else. We still had to come up with the $800 to file.
Yes. Did you get any pushback at the time when you presented this idea? Was there any resistance, like, no, we could never do that, that's too hard? Or
Yeah, we did actually. The people who were on board with us at the time, it was too hard. It was really hard.
Yeah.
Every step of it was hard. The other thing that was hard was getting people to see the shift in what we were versus what we could be.
Yeah.
We started out here, and we knew we needed to get to here, and people kind of liked that idea, but each step along the way, there's tons of pushback, and there still is.
Yeah.
Not just from the people in our group, but from the community as a whole.
So you had a clear vision of where you wanted to go, and just taking the incremental steps. It was monumental at each step.
Yes, and it still is.
Yeah.
We're in the middle right now. We've been in our current formation for a couple of years now, and we're in the middle of doing some strategic planning for the future and getting everybody in the same room at the same time, because it's not just about where you want to go. You have to honor where we've been.
Yeah.
And bringing in people who don't see why things are the way they are. Yes, we know some things have to change, but dang it, there's a reason we ended up like this. And so it's kind of like, it's never just moving forward. It's going back in time and saying, yes, this is where we've been now. We agree.
Yeah.
Now let's move forward.
Yeah. Have you lost people along the way that have said, no, I just want no part of this anymore? And did you do anything to try and re-engage people who left?
Yeah. Boy, that's a really good question. We do lose people along the way that, you think everybody has the same vision, and you think, okay, we're all moving forward together, but then sometimes you move forward in a way that seems like it's best for the organization, but it doesn't align with other people's personal agendas. And at the very beginning, anytime we lost someone, it was this huge thing, like, oh, what can we do? How do we get you back? And then eventually we got to the point where we're like, we're going to lose people. And it's okay. It doesn't mean that they're wrong or we're wrong. It's just different ideas.
Yeah.
But as long as we stay true to our mission and our vision statement of who we are as an organization, then we feel that we're just keep plowing forward.
But in some ways, you might be outgrowing people.
That's really true. Yeah. we joined the Chamber of Commerce, for example, and going to mixers and it just over and over and over again explaining who we are, what our brand is, who we're hoping to engage.
You're building your social capital with the community.
Exactly.
So, what do you see BlackBox doing in the next 5 years? And how do you see yourself in the organization, or do you see yourself in the organization?
You know, it's funny. I gave it my own personal interior calendar of a 3-year period. I was like, I'm going to give this 3 years, right?
Yeah.
And we're going into our 3rd year right now of that. And it's grown so much. We're finally at the point where both Ken and I are, we have to focus full time each week, throw our energy into this, but we're taking a leap, of letting go of other things that were paying the bills and putting it into this with the hope that a year from now, that's where we're going to be. So one thing is we want to be fully funded. 5 years from now, we want it to have the roles are clearly defined, that we have the funding to pay for several full-time people and all of those. We need to have a space of our own because people just really identify with that. So that's the second of the 5-year plan. Personally, 5 years from now, I would like to see that we have the money to hire a director who that's what they do. Ken and I kind of just fell into this, and sometimes we're learning as we go. I would love to see that we have an executive director who is really good at nonprofit strategy, and where Ken and I are advisors, our program directors, are directing shows. I would like to see more of an advisory capability. We want the organization to exist for the community, not for us.
Yeah. Is there anything, looking back on your time with this organization, that you would think, gee, I really wish we hadn't done that?
There's 1,000 little things, most of them, though, have to do with the financial planning piece of it.
That's the hardest part of running any business.
Oh, it's huge. And especially in an artistic business, Ken and I are both artists and idea people, and we've really had to buckle down and learn that piece of it, because without it, it doesn't matter how many great ideas you have.
And I think what you've done over the last decade exemplifies was it Louis Pasteur that said chance favors the prepared mind?
Oh, I love that.
When you go into an experience open-minded and knowing that you have to be flexible, it makes it easier to weather the storms.
Fantastic.
Things bottom out for all of us. I mean, we've all been through it with the economy.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
It's how willing you are to adjust and change and recover. And I think you've done a great job.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Well, thank you so much for agreeing to do this.
Oh, my
and
pleasure.
Good luck with the Black Box, and good luck with your next masters.
Thank you. I'll let you know how it goes.